Hello there, everyone, and welcome to GamePoints episode 173. God damn, we've been doing this show for a while. Your
Yeah, we
weekly
got a
little
problem.
source of gaming news where we get together and talk about everything that's just kind of ground our gears for the past week or so. I am, as always, your host, Stephen Brown. Joining me today is...
I'm David.
Tonight, David, we have some Borderlands bullshit we gotta delve into. We're going to talk about whether or not Rocket League is going to get pulled from Steam. And we have this Riot Walkout that happened literally today. So that's going to be interesting to get into. First off, I just want everyone to know that if you're watching us live here at Twitch TV/GamePoints and you want to join the conversation, please do so. This is an audience interactive podcast. We will take questions from the crowd. If you're watching us on YouTube later at youtube.com/GamePointsPC, however, feel free to comment down below. Those will get read as well. And of course, regardless of where you're viewing us, you guys know how to support us. You've been on the internet long enough. David.
Yes.
So, before we get into the news, I want to bring up one thing real quick.
Yeah, dude, I was really surprised that Arya managed to get the Infinity Gauntlet and then promptly kill the Emperor with it. That was ridiculous.
It has been a very big pulp culture past 2 weeks or so.
And we're not going to talk about fucking any of it.
No, none of it at all. Because we're here about video games. And like all good video game podcasts, let's talk about a movie. This fucking Sonic the Hedgehog teaser. Have you seen it?
Of course I've seen it.
What? I know this is old news. This thing came out like Wednesday of last week. So that's fucking ancient as far as the internet goes. But I haven't had a chance to actually mention this on the show yet. So what did you think of it?
Why the fuck do you think he's the fastest guy alive, right? You know what he likes? Gangster's Paradise.
Thank you for starting with that.
High point of the fucking trailer. Actually, it's not, because unfortunately, while Sonic is truly horrific looking, like, oh my god, why does he have human teeth? Why does he look like a child in a jumpsuit? What is even happening right now with this music selection? And then out of nowhere, Jim Carrey walks in, method acting.
Yeah, not just Jim Carrey, but like 90s Ace Ventura Jim Carrey.
And now I have to see the movie.
Vince Nitro,
Vince.
evening. How are you doing? Good to have you, by the way.
I'm quite upset because I was going to write this movie off and not give two shits about it. And then Jim Carrey, like, saved the entire trailer by being Jim Carrey. Like, the most Jim Carrey-y Jim Carrey I've seen in a long damn time.
Since at least me, myself, and Irene, right?
I feel like since Man on the Moon. Like, he hasn't been the same ever since.
Yeah, he got all serious.
Um...
So yeah, that's definitely a thing that's happened, and the internet outrage was more or less what you would expect. It's kind of along the lines of you, and so from what I understand, they're actually changing the design of this bastard
Yeah,
now.
the greatest thing is we had a tweet from, I believe, the director or from whatever studio is working on it saying, hey, you shouted and we listened. We are working on updating the look of Sonic, and we will be making changes to make this the best Sonic movie we can possibly make, teaming up with Sega, blah, blah, blah. And I've seen a couple renders online of just like fans redoing some of the Sonic scenes. And it's actually not crazy. Just like skinny out his legs, move his waist up a little, fix his eyes, give him like the big Alita Battle Angel super anime eyes so he's actually expressive, and just fix that fucking mouth. Make it so he can smile all the way across his face and doesn't have these weird ass human teeth.
I think the best fan render I've seen so far is when they took it, they gave him solid black eyes and fangs, covered his mouth in blood, and it just says the caption, the only thing faster than death, or if the only thing faster than light is death. And it's just dark as hell. Anyways.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention that out of the way. Yes, we have seen the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer. Yes, it is atrocious. Yes, they are changing it. And yes, from what I heard, someone at Sega actually said thank you for talking to the studio to get them to change it. So we'll see how that changes. It might even move the creator. I'm not positive on that. But
I feel like no one at the studio bothered to look at what the fuck Sonic looked like. And they're just like, he's going to be some weird puppet dude. And
they
it'll be
poochied
great.
him. He was focus tested. That's what that was.
Except for they should have focus texted to anybody with eyes before putting that trailer out.
Anyways,
Seriously.
we are not here to beat that to death. Like I said, that is old news.
As
far as
I
the
can
internet
burn this
goes.
whole episode on it if we gotta. It's only 3 minutes, but I can get an hour.
The first thing I want to bring up tonight, besides the Sonic stuff, this actually is somewhat interesting. It's somewhat developing a little bit because it did happen today. And these stories are going to be, this is going to be via Newsweek and Forbes. Of course, links will be provided in the description down below. There was a big walkout in Riot Games today.
True that. That happened.
So I want to preface this conversation by saying this. One, we're going to get into legal stuff. And as we have mentioned multiple times, neither one of us are lawyers.
But I have stayed at a Holiday Inn Express. Not
yes,
recently.
I pretended to play one on a show I was never on.
Okay.
And two, the build up to this story is like 6 months of drama that led up to today. And I am woefully uninformed on it because it deals with League of Legends and Riot Games, two things of which I really don't care all that much about. But this potentially has a ripple effect that I want to mention. So it's big enough for us to talk about, but the background I am going to be woefully unprepared for. So I will get things wrong. I apologize for that. And if I do make a mistake, please correct me in the comments down below or here at twitch.tv/GamePoints. David, what do you know about what's going on?
I know that several months ago, there was a bunch of sexual misconduct allegations leveled against the League of Legends creator Riot Games, who are owned by Tencent, which is a Chinese company. And people are really mad at the
love that xenophobia. I'm finally, the xenophobic person on this show isn't me.
I'm just giving way more backstory than necessary. A bunch of bad shit's going on from what we can tell based on feedback from the employees, and a lot of people wanted to start a class action suit against Riot. Riot then came back and said, hey, by the way, all you kids did sign a arbitration agreement, which basically states, if you sign an arbitration agreement, that means you're agreeing that any legal issues you have with the company cannot be solved in court, but instead will be resolved by a private arbitrator who is provided by the company. Company pays for an arbitrator. They work as the middleman, so there's no lawyers, there's no judge, and you deal with the result. And this is something that if it's in your contract, you sign it, and you have to deal with it as is. Now, sometimes with the arbitration agreements, it will say how much the either employer spends on it, how much the employee spends on it, all this other fun stuff, but more or less means you can't take them to court. But since it was sexual misconduct and some other things that maybe legally are nebulous, they still started the lawsuit, right? Basically told them, hey, to fuck off. So that all ramped up until today, where 150-ish employees of Riot said, okay, cool story, fuck you, and walked out from 2 to 4 p.m.
Now, was this all from one studio? I think they have an LA and a San Francisco studio. They may even have a New York studio. I'm not positive. Or was it spread out across all three of them? Or more? I know that Riot has more than one location this happened at. I just don't know how many, like where the big number was from.
I thought this was all from their Southern California office.
It could be. I don't know.
That's in Santa Monica.
I swore I read something that said San Francisco people, but I couldn't find the article again later to bring up.
I didn't even know they were in San Francisco, honestly. I thought this was all from Santa Monica.
I could have misread it. Like I said, I'm going into this with very little knowledge about Riot Games in general, so... So, yeah, that happened. About 150 people or so walked off the job for like 2 hours. From the articles itself, let's go ahead and get some official statements here. Here we go. Here's a Riot statement about the walkout to Newsweek. We support the rioters making their voices heard today. Rioters, by the way, are what Riot Games call their employees. They're not actually like burning down the building or anything like that.
Yeah.
Going back. We have asked all managers to make every accommodation to allow the rioters to participate from 2 to 4 p.m. window, including freeing up meeting times. We respect rioters who choose to walk out today and will not tolerate retaliation of any kind as a result of the participating or not. While we will not make the change to our policies while in active litigation, last Thursday we have announced that we've made a call to pivot our approach. As soon as active litigation is resolved, we will give all new rioters a chance to opt out of mandatory arbitration for individual sexual harassment and sexual assault claims. At that time, we will also commit to have firm answers on potentially expanding the scope, extending this to opt out to all rioters. We are working diligently to resolve all active litigation so we can quickly take steps towards solution. That's really what triggered this off, is that last week they said, hey, anyone new to the company doesn't have to worry about this. But people actively were there went, hey, what about us who are still here? And Riot went, whatever. But in Riot's defense, there is active litigation against them. They can't be changing shit while there's active litigation. You just can't.
And they have been making some progress, from what I understand, from when the allegations originally started. That the corporate culture is slowly improving, but yeah, there's still lawsuits out, and there's the fact that they did block those 2 cases. citing the forced arbitration agreements. And, this is a not fun topic.
No.
Basically. Arbitration is a thing that companies can do as much as they want. Because
Yep, Supreme Court ruled it legal back in they adjudicated it back on 2018, saying, yeah, you can do it. And ultimately,
you can absolutely do that.
You could just
Fuck
choose
employees.
not to work there, is what they say.
Yeah, corporations win.
Take the other side, don't sign a dotted line if you don't want to agree to the contract.
Yeah.
So
don't work for corporations. Mom and pop everything.
Yeah.
Shut it down. Shut it all down.
Yep. Oh, don't
Fight Club ending. Let's go.
You want me to go shut it all down? I'll pull out the Dark City gift. So here's the thing. This has been picked up by a lot of the games unionization thing, saying, "Hey, this is another reason why we need unions and everything like that." I think you know my stance on unions. What do you feel about that?
Unions?
Yeah.
Unions are fun. Unions give employees the right to fight back against a corporation.
Well, they already have the right to fight back. It's just that they can combine their power to fight back against it. So I play up
They legally can't fight back if they've signed an arbitration agreement.
They
can legally do nothing besides not work there.
They signed a contract.
Yeah,
don't sign the contract. I mean, that's the simple rule if you want to get on it.
Your only legal recourse is to not work there.
So I know that I tend to play my anti-union side of me pretty hard. I am not as anti-union as I come off on this show. I like the idea of a bunch of people getting together going, no, we need to make some changes here, and this is what's going to happen. I am fine with that on its face, which is essentially a union.
they should at least have representation.
The problem comes from, and we've talked about this before, and we talked about this when the voice actors went on strike. There are literally thousands of people willing to do your job.
Yep.
So
everybody's replaceable.
A union only works if the union can garner up enough support to withstand that power. Else, Riot can just snap their fingers and replace them all, kind of like what Reagan did with the FTA controllers back in the early 80s.
Dude, guess what? If Bitcoin can pretend to be worth money until it's actually worth money, unions can pretend to be valuable until they're actually valuable.
To a point. I could see both sides. The point is, what I'm saying is, knock yourself out and unionize, but that is going to cause ramifications. For example, in my opinion, expect about a third of your workforce to get laid off just overnight. But hey, some people say that's fear-mongering. That's a dice you have to roll. Also, this isn't Riot Games, where it's just owned by Tencent. Tencent will just go, okay, fuck it, we're closing the Riot Games down in California. We'll move it somewhere else.
Everybody works in China now.
Yep. Those are things they have to risk if they want to unionize. And if they still, of their own volition, choose to unionize, more power to them. Because there are some benefits with such a thing as unionizing. You can kind of try to force the hand. The problem is a lot of people think, oh yeah, we're going to take them to the mat, not realizing, like I just said, if it's cheaper for them to shut down the LA office and move to Beijing, they'll shut down the LA office and move to Beijing.
Yep.
It's like
no incentive not to.
Yeah, it's like the $15 minimum wage thing. Sounds great in theory and all like that, but if McDonald's looks at you and goes, you're not worth $15 an hour when I can just replace you with this machine, you get in place with that machine.
Sounds good to me. Maybe my hamburgers will be cheaper, and maybe they'll actually be made correctly.
So yeah, my stance is, as always, whenever news like this comes out and you see a lot of the mainstream game journalists, the ones I'm talking about, your Polygons, your Kotakus, your Waypoint, saying time to unionize, it's like, okay, cool, but they're kind of selling you this rosy picture perfect idea of a union, when in reality it's going to come with a lot of drawbacks, and you need to be aware of what can happen and then make that choice on your own. And that's all I want to say on it.
I'm just going to go with unions were a great idea before all the laws change, and unions are no longer a good idea because everything sides to a corporation. at all points in the conversation.
Fair enough. Let's see right here. Vince Nitro in chat saying, the dream of working for a game studio versus the reality is fertile breeding ground for a workforce supply that is great excess of demand. Exactly. That is exactly what I'm getting at.
Yeah, there's a shit ton of people that want to work in games.
Yes.
Now, whether or not their talent levels are equal, that's another question. But the fun part is the companies don't actually give a shit how quality anything is. They just care that you buy it.
The term code monkey exists for a reason.
Yeah, it literally doesn't matter. And I don't really like this conversation because it's nothing but aggravating. And I want to just shout from a rooftop on how fucked up all of this is in the first place. But
Well, I'm going to make things
what am I going to do? I'm
going to make things more aggravating. And yes, Code Monkeys was an amazing show. I'm going to make things more aggravating for you. Remember how Fortnite had all that shit about the crunch, and they were getting in trouble for crunching because of how fast they're churning out content? Mm-hmm. And then Apex Legends came out and said, oh, we're going to release on a slower schedule to fight against crunch.
Mm-hmm.
Whose game is increasing their numbers and whose game is dramatically dropping?
Yep.
Sorry, I mean, that's how it is. And I get you want to fight back against that.
The consumers don't give a shit.
No.
And never have.
No.
Which isn't just a problem of the game industry. That's a problem of every single industry. No one cares.
So anyways.
Man, this is depressing. I need more beer.
Fair enough. So this is yet another flashpoint in the discussion of unionization in games overall. But I think there's just... I get the desire for it. Like I said, ultimately, I don't think unions are necessarily a bad thing. I think modern unions are, because my personal experience has been they are horribly corrupt from the top down. But that might not be everyone's experience. That said, when you talk about unionizing in America, when your workforce is global, like so many of these studios are, you're just going to fuck yourself over in America. But once again, what the fuck do I know? I don't work in the industry. I just bitch about it.
Just close all the game studios, make them all indie, and make them all co-ops.
Anyways,
okay, let's go.
I know that this is a very touchy subject for some people. I've kind of just washed my hands of it all and just say, fuck it, we'll let the chips fall when we made, and we'll see what the future holds.
Dude, I feel for the Riot employees.
Yeah, I do.
My company tried to make me sign an arbitration agreement. I told them to kick rocks, and somehow I still work there, but not everyone's that lucky.
No. So anyways, let us know what you guys think down below. If you work for Riot specifically, please, I would love to hear from you, just either in chat or in the comments down below. But either way, let's go ahead and move on.
I actually do know some people there, but I actually wasn't able to get in touch with anybody today. So
okay, your secrecy will be guaranteed for as much as I can guarantee something being. Well, I mean, you don't know me, but I can promise you I won't talk about it. We all know what promises are worth. David.
I'm not even famous enough for anyone who knows me to know that I'm on the internet, so you can tell me whatever you want. No one's...
I'm like at that F level of internet famous, where some people follow me, and you might know me by my moniker Capitalist Pig, but not my actual name.
I'm like an X then, if you're an F.
Yeah, I'm like bottom of the scale. Anyways, I don't want to beat this topic to death. I think we've talked about it, we've addressed it. Let's move on to the next.
Let's jump to something else that will definitely not make me depressed, and there's no way it can possibly happen because it's about my favorite video game, Rocket League, right? This is good news, right?
Yeah, it's a great game.
Psyonix has joined Epic Games.
Womp womp.
An announcement from the Rocket League blog post. This is directly from the Rocket League website. Today is a big day for us here at Psyonix because, just as the headline says, we are officially joining the Epic Games family. It goes on to talk about, what does this mean for the studio? They're saying they only have positive answers. They've always been community-driven. They're joining places with Epic so they can serve their community in bigger, better ways. And then they go and answer some different questions. One of the first questions they respond to is, no, really, what does this mean for Rocket League? The response in the short term, nothing will change at all. We're still committed to providing Rocket League with frequent updates that have new features, new content, new ways to play the game as long as you'll have us. In the long term, we expect Rocket League to bring Rocket League to go to the Epic Games Store and to leverage our new relationship to grow the game in ways we couldn't do on our own before. We believe that bringing Rocket League to new audiences with more support is a win for everybody. Will the gameplay be different? No. What does this mean for the Rocket League's esports ecosystem? They talk about how it should only grow since they're going to have more money in it. What happens to the team? We're the same team we've always been, only now we have the power and experience of Epic behind us. And then they thank the team, the community, the fans, and everybody who has helped make this game what it is. And added at the bottom, we want to clarify something for you after today's news. Rocket League is and remains available on Steam. Anyone who owns Rocket League through Steam can still play it and can look forward to continued support. Thanks. Because one of the immediate news articles that went out all over the place, which still, I've searched high and low, there's no fucking source for this besides speculation, is that Rocket League getting pulled from Steam. It's going to happen in August. It's going to happen in October. It's going to happen whenever it hit Epic's Game Store. While I understand why people are saying that, there is, at this point in time, literally no proof that it will be pulled from Steam.
Correct.
However, there's also no proof that it won't.
and Epic and Psyonix are both wording their statements deliberately vague on that topic.
As fuck, which is concerning.
So, once again, the Psyonix statement, Rocket League is and remains available on Steam. Anyone who owns Rocket League through Steam can still play it and look forward to continued support. You said that earlier, but it doesn't say it will always be for sale, though. They just said, we'll keep it on Steam and we'll support it on Steam. Or rather, if you have it on Steam, you'll still be able to play it on Steam and we'll support it on Steam, but they didn't say if they're pulling it for sale. Epic later said, we are continuing to sell Rocket League on Steam, and we have not announced plans to stop selling the game there. Rocket League remains available for new purchasers on Steam, and the long-term plans will be announced in the future, i.e., they refuse to say if they're going to take it off Steam or not for sale. And remember our maxim about companies. If it's good news, they won't fucking shut up about it.
Yep.
If it's
bad news, they won't say a fucking word.
Exactly.
But that gets us into a different question.
Yes.
So, I already own Rocket League on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody I play Rocket League with already owns it on Steam or on PlayStation. And Rocket League and Epic have been at the forefront of the entire cross-play movement.
Yes.
Rocket League, as a game, has updates that hit every fucking where. And you can crossplay. I can play on PC and play against people on Switch. I can play against people on Xbox. I can play against people on PlayStation. It's all works together because they were one of the champions for that fight. Epic is probably the biggest champion because they're the ones that released a game and said, whoops, sorry, it's accidentally crossplay, and then eventually won the fight to making it crossplay.
I'm still not convinced that was an accident either. I think it was like, oh, my hand slipped. Oop.
Dude, I called that as not an accident the day we read that article. That was the most blatant thing, because then their follow-up was, sorry, we checked the wrong box, we unchecked it.
Yeah.
And that was we fixed it.
And we've already established Epic will play dirty.
Yeah, and it's as easy as checking a box to enable crossplay, was what everybody learned from that. It has nothing to do with the company. It's all Sony saying no. But the big question really is, say Rocket League gets pulled from Steam.
Okay.
A week after it goes out on the Epic Store. How does this affect Rocket League?
It doesn't. It just means you can't buy it on Steam anymore.
That is all that changes.
Yes.
If the game stops being on Steam and switches to Epic only, the only thing that changes is that Psyonix now gets a bigger cut of every sale of that
Which is why it's so fucking infuriating that they won't say if that's going to happen or not. Because the only people it's going to piss off are the people that are going to get pissed off to begin with.
Yeah, people that are going to be mad are the people that are already mad that Epic Games Store exists in the first place. And guess what? Those people wouldn't buy it regardless, or they already own the game. In either case, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
So they could say, hey, we are keeping the game on Steam up until we get it running on the Epic Game Store. Once everything's stable, we will be removing it from the Steam store for sale. You will still get all your updates and features because Rocket League is committed to having a cohesive community of players, and they're not going to leave anyone behind in updates. Sweet. Thanks, guys. Sounds great. One of the big arguments against, the Epic Store is you can't buy it from third parties. That's already been debunked because Humble Bundle is now starting to carry keys for the Epic Store. So, hey, look at that. They're getting plans in place. Every other argument against the Epic Store that I've heard is bullshit, and I think I've diffused most of them pretty handily in an episode a few episodes ago. That it just get over yourself, or buy a pay-as-you-go credit card, or just go fuck yourself, really. And everything else is just Rocket League. Rocket League is the greatest game ever made, and you should buy it I don't care where it is. I don't care if you gotta buy it on Humble. I don't care if you gotta buy it on Epic. I don't care if you buy it on GOG. I don't care if you go into GameStop and buy it on disc. You should just play Rocket League because it's great.
So my stance on this is the same stance I have whenever a developer gets bought by a publisher. And Epic Games is essentially a publisher.
Yeah.
It has a lot of good with it. They can take care of marketing. They can free up resources. You get a shit ton of extra support now. There's all this extra cash coming in. And you can focus on your game. That said, you are now beholden to a corporate overlord.
True.
Look at BioWare. When this happens, there's always good and bad with it. We'll see how that shakes out.
There is spookiness of if Epic tries to fuck with them. But
yeah, absolutely.
I don't feel like they will. I mean,
Epic
I know
hasn't fucked with Fortnite from like the monetary standpoint since it came out. They could have to make more money with it, and they've more or less left that alone.
And Rocket League already has like loot boxes and keys, and always fucking has. And the people that care don't play it, and the people that play it don't care. So it doesn't matter, because everything you unlock in Rocket League is cosmetic. There's nothing game changing in that video game. Certain cars have different hitboxes. Every single DLC car or add-on car has an existing car's hitbox.
So it doesn't change anything.
Base cars you just get by unlocking, just by playing the video game, give you access to every hitbox that's available in the game.
Now, if we're talking about like actual gameplay changes, I do want to amend a statement I made earlier. Fortnite has been fucked with a lot from a gameplay meta standpoint. What I mean by saying that is... Yeah, what I mean by saying that is the overall monetization structure of Fortnite has not changed, and it could have dramatically when it got real big. So, one more topic I want to bring this up, and by the way, let us know what you guys think about Psyonix being bought up by Epic Game. Comments below, chat live, and all that good stuff.
One other thing, Rocket League's built on the Unreal Engine. It has been from the get-go. And Psyonix has been working on the Unreal Engine for a long time, and Epic's actually contracted them for other projects that they've had them work on. So they already have like a crossover developer.
Yeah, they already have a relationship
that's existed for a while. So this isn't them just pulling a Microsoft and just buying a studio. This is more, they're kind of intrinsically linked, and now they're actually linked.
So the final topic, the final point I want to bring up about this story, it's kind of tangential, and it's me raging against all these fucking websites who are coming out and saying, no, Rocket League is not getting pulled on Steam. That's what the headlines say. That is not technically accurate. What's
funny is you immediately have 100 headlines that say Rocket League is leaving Steam. Then you have the counter a day later, another 100 headlines saying, no, Rocket League's staying on Steam. The honest truth is, none of you fuckers have any idea, because neither of the companies involved have made a definitive response to the topic. More importantly than either one of those clickbaity-ass headlines is the fact that it doesn't fucking matter if it stays on Steam or not.
I just hate these headlines that literally say a definitive yes or no, this is happening, when the company themselves refuse to state yes or no, this is happening. If you are working at one of these fucking outlets and you have the access, I tried to ask. I got no response back. Go up there and go, no. Give me a yes or no statement. Will I be able to buy Rocket League on Steam in a year? In 6 months?
And here's the fun part. Part of the reason they maybe haven't made an announcement is because they don't even know yet.
No, my gut tells me that
it's totally possible that the Epic board is sitting there saying, okay, so we've lost some goodwill on that. We've gained some goodwill on that. We have our store going. We're doing good. Some games are doing really well, but a lot of people get really mad. Do we want to pull this game so that Psyonix can make more shares of every sale, or do we want to leave it and try and keep some goodwill?
That's what I think the conversation is.
There's probably just a fucking email chain going back and forth between all the execs at Epic, and probably CCing all the guys from Psyonix saying, hey, maybe we want to keep it here. Maybe we don't. And no one's made a firm decision, which is why they don't have a yes or no.
And it should be reported as such, that we don't know what the future holds. Not yes, it's staying, or yes, it's going. I fucking hate that, because that is not what they said. That is not reporting. That is not journalism. That is you fucking making a goddamn assumption, which is why I try to put links to all my shit in the story here so you can go read it on your own. And I could be fucking wrong. Let me know if they've changed their point or gave a definitive answer one way or another, please.
Oh, we're wrong all the time, but at least we cite our sources.
Yeah, and if I'm biased on something, I'm going to let you know.
Yeah, and a lot of the shit we're wrong on is literally opinion. Yeah. It's not us straight out saying, by the way, here's a fact that's not really a fact that we fucking made up.
David?
That's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Borderlands had its gameplay reveal last week.
Borderlands had its gameplay reveal the week before last. It just had its official gameplay reveal last week.
Fair enough. There was that leak.
Aren't you on a game podcast?
That's debatable.
Chump change.
So if you missed it, you can find the stream. The link will be provided down below. The stream itself is like 5 fucking hours. The point you want to focus in on starts roughly at the 55-minute mark and goes for an hour after that, in which case they show a couple of levels.
And before all the internet gets mad at Claptrap's voice, way the fuck too late. He's different. He doesn't sound right. He sounds bad.
We'll talk about that in a second. One thing I want to mention out the gate, though, is I thought it was pretty fucking cool that they brought out the entire... I don't know if it's the entire dev team, but they did bring out a lot of the dev team at the beginning. It's like, hey, I want all these people to come up on stage and say hi, and that I thought was cool. Give them... These are the unsung guys. Game looks fun, from what I saw. And I don't know about you, but did it feel like they're leaning way heavy into the loot aspect where there's like literal geysers of loot exploding, and it almost feels like it's a backhand slap to like Anthem?
I mean, that's always kind of been their thing, though. So
yeah, but they went
like a slap,
way upstream. They went way, way extreme with some of these loot showers.
Well, the Borderlands 2 was like bazillions, gazillions of guns, and it was just, oh my god, guns everywhere. And what's funny is, while it's interesting in the, oh yeah, Borderlands is about getting a lot of guns, it actually makes me want to play the game less.
Really?
Yeah. We've got trillions of guns.
Too much bullshit to wade through?
Yeah, I don't want to fucking... It's the loot style gameplay. It's like the Diablo problem over and over and over. It's like, okay, I have 3,000 new items in my inventory. This one has one number higher than one of my items, and the rest is literal garbage.
With any luck, they will have a system.
That's why Path of Exile has a fucking mod that you can download, an automatic loot filter that will make it so you don't even see any items below purple rarity.
That's why I'm saying, if they're smart, and you can kind of do this a little bit with Diablo, don't write me, I know it's not one for one how this works. They'll be able to let you filter out lower categories of loot, so that way, or auto trash it, so if you pick it up and it's like, say, Masterwork or lower, and it goes up to Legendary, you can set like a minimum loot level to keep in your inventory, and everything else just gets automatically trashed.
It's just annoying.
Like auto sell all commons or something.
That's why I liked Path of Exile, is because you literally just don't see garbage items with loot mods. But it's having a shit ton of things that you look at to compare stat lines isn't gameplay. It's filler.
People are into it. I mean, there's a reason why I play about once every year. I play Diablo straight for like 3 weeks because of that.
But the thing is I like gameplay. I don't like charts.
Gameplay looks good. Borderlands 3 looks real goddamn good.
And it looks fun.
Yeah.
I just don't want to sit there and just look at all these fucking guns. I want to find a gun type I like, and then I just want that gun to get slowly better.
I have a hard time believing they're not going to have some kind of filter built in. Like, I have a really hard time believing with this amount of shit that erupts from some chests that there is not something to go, okay, just sell all blues or lower automatically. There has to be something like that in there. If they're not, they're fucking up. Randy Pitchford, I know you're listening to this podcast. You might not like us in a couple minutes now once we start talking about other things, but if you're listening, before you get too pissed off at us, please make sure that's implemented in your game.
Meanwhile, Vince in chat points out, even when you hit Legendary, entry level for most of the good stuff inevitably ends up being medium to high tier Legendary, and there's no shortage of weak Legendaries to go around.
Yeah, that's a problem with Diablo as well.
You have 800,000 weapons, or in this game, bazillions of guns. Even all the gold ones, most of them are shitty.
That can be remedied by having more tiers of loot, and your top tier is like top tier.
Guaranteed to be good tier?
Yeah. Like
I would just set the game to that filter at the beginning.
Let's think about this. Top tier weapons, you minimize the roll.
I just want special weapons only.
You minimize the stat roll, so that way they're all roughly like 5 points of each other, but you make them super hard to get. I think that would cut down on the bloat. So that way, once you have it, you got it. With a small possible incremental upgrade if you find it later. And I mean like small, because the stat roll variance would be so tiny. I think that would fix a lot of problems. But I get what you're saying. I recommend you take a look at the gameplay reveal, by the way.
Put some extra math in there that makes it so if you pick up the same gun that you've already picked up, the stats are guaranteed to be higher. If you pick up, like, basic-ass lame gun, and then you pick up another basic-ass lame gun, either make it so the stat line's identical so you know you can throw it away, or make it so it's got a guaranteed, hey, you have had one of these in your inventory, it's checked a box somewhere in the code, this one is incrementally better.
And it just flags it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. I would like that. So, Borderlands gameplay looks good, but of course...
yeah, the game does look solid, and I'll probably play the shit out of it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm nothing if not a hypocrite.
Of course, whenever we talk about Gearbox, though, we have to talk about Randy Pitchford.
Someone delete this fucker's Twitter. Seriously, dude, your games are great. Your company's doing some cool stuff. Just shut the fuck up.
He is Gearbox's greatest enemy. And the thing is, I have this love-hate relationship with Randy Pitchford because he truly does seem to be, like, excited about fucking everything he does. I don't know if he's legitimately excited or if that's marketing, but it feels sincere. He kind of gets, like, Peter Molyneux levels of, like, oh my god, we're going to have all this and everything like that. I get it. So there are two stories revolving Randy Pitchford that we gotta talk about because he is just a lightning rod for controversy. The first is this fucking tiff that he had with Game Informer. So all of this started when Pitchford at the live stream reveal said that the upcoming game's not going to have microtransactions. And I'm paraphrasing what he said here, but he said it's not going to have anything like pay to win or loot boxes or in-game currency. There will be no microtransactions. And the reason why I say no microtransactions, because he did say it won't have microtransactions. Those were words out of his mouth, which is what leads us to this fucking debate. Game Informer went, okay, no microtransactions. Let's look into it. Turns out, though, you are going to be able to buy skins in the game. Well, like it or not, a DLC skin is a microtransaction. So
it turns out if you're not paying for the full price of the game and you're paying for a very small piece of the game, that's the literal definition of a microtransaction.
So technically, Game Informer is correct. Now, their headline...
That's kind of correct.
Yeah. Their headline is a touch clickbaity, not much, but I get why Randy Pitchford might have been upset by it. However, the appropriate response is to go, okay, yes, when I was speaking, I meant it's the free-to-play bullshit that you're seeing affecting games everywhere. It's the time saver, it's premium currency, but we are going to have skins you can buy as well. That's the appropriate response. The Randy Pitchford response, though, said, quote, he goes to the Game Informer editor-in-chief, Andy McNamara, on Twitter and says, come on, guys, shitty clickbait headline. Literally seconds before I said that, I made it very clear we're going to do cosmetic stuff like we did in Borderlands 2. You know I was talking about premium currency and loot box kind of stuff not being in our game. And then he added, why will you fuck me on this is beyond me, thanks a lot. It's like, dude, that's not... Yes, it is a little clickbaity. Yes, they're trying to do a gotcha moment. I get it. That's infuriating. That would piss me off too. But they are also right. You said the game was not going to have microtransactions, and there are fucking microtransactions. I get you're excited. You're on stage. You don't use the teleprompter for much. I can tell that you go off script all the time, Randy. But when you're called out on this, you can't fucking double down. You have to go, you're right. Yes, okay. There are some microtransactions. What I was referring to was blah. And he goes on this fucking Twitter spat with Andy McNamara for hours.
It's great. It's so good. It's just
like
it's just a delicious, delicious train wreck.
I want to say it started like at 5 or 6 that night and goes on to like 2 in the fucking morning.
Why not? Get it, Randy. You're using Twitter for God's work.
Yeah, Vince Nitro says I missed the comma. It's no microtransactions. Money down? No. Cash up front.
Oh, man. Good job, Randy.
So he just kind of flies off the handle, and I get it. He is attacked online constantly, still for aliens, colonial marines to this day. I get that it might be a sensitive subject, and I get that you're a little touchy online. But you need to... This just looks bad on you, Randy. It does not look bad on Game Informer.
Colonial Marine's a good game. That would have fixed everything.
And if you think that was the only thing that Randy got shit into over the past couple days, this next thing is a little bit more... It could potentially get kind of dark. So...
Dark.
David.
Yeah.
You might have noticed that Claptrap does not have the same voice actor.
Oh, really? I wouldn't have noticed, except for the internet fucking raging about it. Jesus Christ, people, do you have hobbies?
To address that part of it, I've got no problem with the new Claptrap voice actor. He is being played now by Jim Foronda, and I didn't hear that much of a difference. Plus, it goes to a fucking, like, synthesizer anyways. So I think people just know about it and are pissed, but if they would have heard him side by side, they might not have picked it up. Coco for Tacos, by the way, thank you for showing up in chat. Always good to have you.
I figure if you have 20 people in a room and they listen to the one claptrap and then the other back-to-back with headphones on, one of the 20 would notice a difference.
Right.
Kind of like how people that are really good at drinking wine, like the fancy wine people, can, in a blind taste test, confuse white wines with a white wine with a red dye in it, and they will actually tell people they taste different, even though they fucking don't, because it's the same wine. Yeah,
now,
that was a legitimate study done some years ago.
Yeah, no, like the organic banana
all wine
versus
tastes the same.
banana. That said, I did pick up a wine once at the place where I get my wine out. Yes, I'm that kind of asshole. Sniffed it and went, "It's this," and they went, "Yep."
It's fermented grape juice. It's meant to get you drunk. It doesn't fucking matter what it tastes like as long as you like it.
Pulling it back to this conversation.
$4 wine. I'm just saying.
The former voice actor for Claptrap was a gentleman by the name of David Eddings. And
this is where it gets complicated.
He used to work for Gearbox. He was a former employee, high up there. He was an executive of some kind. But he left the company. And he and Randy Pitchford do not fucking like each other. And the hostility is evident in how they both talk about each other. David Eddings, if you might remember, is the guy who fucking vague tweeted, "Yes, it's true," at the time when the child porn allegations were getting targeted at Randy Pitchford, as well as the embezzlement of $12 million. Nolan Richardson.
And it was like, which part?
Yeah, exactly. And he just... I hate shit like that. That's childish. Nolan Richardson, by the way, I do love a good moonshine as well. So that's good. 3 X's and I'm good. Once you get to 5 X's, you go blind.
Well, that's the problem is because it's the fermenting process. If you leave that shit in there too long, it's just going to make you blind because it's just not good for you.
Back to the topic, as I keep getting distracted.
Put some more grapes in there.
Eddings left the company on poor terms.
How
he left is still up to debate. He says he quit. Pitchford says he was fired. Who fucking knows? But he said that Eddings said he wasn't going to come back to voice for Little Robot last week because he wasn't going to get paid for it. Here's a quote from his Twitter. "No. For the first time, I insisted on getting paid for my performance, and all of a sudden, they couldn't afford me. Now, I'm not telling them how to run their business, but maybe next time they should put the $12 million payment from 2K in the Gearbox bank instead. Just saying."
Oh,
first off,
that one time that Randy Pitchford was accused of embezzling $12 million from the company. Oh, call back to like 3 months ago. Oh.
First off, this Twitter drama bullshit's kind of dumb. I fucking hate it. And he's taking it unnecessary shot. He could have just said, "No, they couldn't pay me what I was asking for it," and be done with it. But there's some serious animosity between these two. They don't like each other. And let's be fair here. There's a good chance they were both total dicks.
Yeah, I think that's the most likely scenario, is that both of these guys are just pure unbridled assholes.
Yeah.
And you just can't put two of those people in the same room.
No, it doesn't work. That's why we don't do this podcast in the same room.
Yeah, it's for your safety as much as ours.
Pitchford comes back and says that Edding is, quote, "just bitter and disgruntled at having been terminated. He was offered twice the scale and he refused. I don't want him to do it unless he wants to do it, as motivation affects performance." Technically right. If you're there and you're pissed off about it, it's going to affect your performance. And Pitchford is claiming he offered him twice what the normal rate is.
I'm just saying, I think Deadpan Claptrap actually would have been the best possible version of Claptrap.
Oh, I think they should have Chef from South Parked him. Take a bunch of bits from previous Borderlands games and just strung them together.
I don't think they can legally do that till he's dead.
And Nolan Richardson, you bring up the exact next part I want to bring up with. Thank you for mentioning it in chat. As of 2 hours ago, Eddings has now claimed that Pitchford, quote, physically assaulted him back during GDC in 2017. And this is via GameStop. I'll have the article posted down below. Now, GameSpot
sells things.
I want to mention right now, the term physical assault has been so fucking watered down over the past few years, this could literally be as simple as throwing a drink in his face. Or it could be as extreme as beating the shit out of him with a lamp. It is a broad category now because we have watered it down. That everything is physical assault now. So take what he's saying with a grain of salt. We know that Eddings fucking hates Pitchford, and the feeling is mutual. We know that Eddings vague books all the time, and the feeling is fucking mutual. They do not like each other. So Eddings does have reason to exaggerate here. But The claim of physical assault has been made. Pitchford needs to address it.
True. It's also weird because, as far as we know, there's no like police report of the assault. He didn't tell anybody the assault, and if it's at GDC, there's a decent chance that someone got it on a phone camera if it actually happened.
Yeah.
But who the fuck knows?
Eddings said that, hey, I would have loved to have come back to do Claptrap, but one of the things I wanted was an apology for this assault. But once again, you say physical assault. What the fuck did he do to you, Eddings?
Shoved him in an elevator.
Did he shove you in an elevator? Did he slap you? Did he throw water on you? Or did he punch you? Because all of these things are fucking different. If he just threw water on you, grow the fuck up and stop getting in your little Twitter fight. If he punched you, fuck Randy Pitchford. You need to be arrested. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's great.
But it's all this fucking vague bullshit and hints and allegations and things better left unsaid, which was an amazing Collective Soul album back in the 90s. And god damn it, I hate it so much. But once again, this shit is all people are talking about online, so I have to fucking address it. My stance on it is, I see two fucking grown men screaming at each other on the playground when they were 12. And it's just now grown to social media.
I like what's going on with chat. You know, Vince says he got beat like Joe Pesci in Casino, or he got a wedgie and then someone called him a nerd. Nolan points out that probably someone got it on Google Glass because it happened in 2017, and that's funny as shit because it was also in San Francisco, so that's the most likely scenario. And then there's the Better Off Dead plan. Someone took his lunch money and walked off with his girlfriend.
Yeah, if this happened in a hotel lobby in GDC back in 2017, this shit would have been reported on if it was something extreme. But, however, I don't want to dismiss Eddings as making shit up. Claims of physical assault should be fucking taken seriously and should be looked into. But I fall more into the trust but verify category of things rather than listen and believe. So it is up to Eddings to provide some context to this because extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof.
I think that all of this can be easily resolved if we just build a goddamn Thunderdome. Throw these two motherfuckers in it.
Bring back dueling. Two people got beef bad enough.
One man leaves. Whoever leaves is the guy that's right.
If two people got beef bad enough where they want to kill each other over, I say let it fucking happen. And charge admission.
They don't even have to kill each other, man. It's the future. We could just... You have a duel. One guy gets knocked out. The other guy wins. It's over. You have no legal recourse. You lost the duel.
Let them fight in the Borderlands. So, to sum up, Borderlands 3 looks fucking amazing. Randy Pitchford is a fucking train wreck wherever he goes. David, we have some quick bits of news I want to round up before we get to new releases this week. One, Sony has announced a new State of Play incoming. State of Play, if you recall, it's kind of like their version of Nintendo Direct. They run about 10 minutes. This one's no exception. It will be coming Thursday, May 9th at 3 p.m. Pacific time. It'll be a quick show around 10 minutes, and they have some PS4 updates they want to share. First, they want to take a look at Medieval. Remember how Medieval's coming back with Sir Daniel Fortescue?
I completely forgot it was coming back, but that's tight.
And they're going to have updates on other announcements from upcoming PlayStation 4 games, as well as a new title they're going to show. However, if you're expecting some PlayStation 5 news, you're going to be disappointed. There will be no updates regarding their next generation plans this time. And thank you, fucking Sony, for letting us know that out the gate. Set your expectations accordingly.
Dumbass, ragey internet kids. It turns out that one VR-based State of Play wasn't the only fucking State of Play, and it wasn't actually replacing their E3 conference. You fucking idiots.
Yeah, we said that this is probably going to be like a Nintendo Direct.
Nintendo, you're probably going to keep doing it. We're going to have one video one time, and that's our entire thing for the year. No, they're just going to do this shit like every couple months, and this is how we're going to learn about PlayStation up until the actual PlayStation event when PXS most likely comes back, and will probably be where they actually reveal things. Or they're going to wait and just reveal it at CES. Who gives a shit?
Right. News will come when it needs to come. A couple other quick bits, David. Looks like we got some Ghost Recon news coming in the wild. That world premiere of the new Ghost Recon whatever will be May 9th at 11:30 a.m. May 9th is going to be a busy fucking day. And Devil May Cry, the original, is coming to Switch this summer.
Perfect. Now release all the rest.
David.
Also on Switch.
I like the first Devil May Cry. I like the third Devil May Cry. I like the fifth Devil May Cry. But this Devil May Cry on Switch isn't coming till the summer. I am bored right now. What the fuck can I play?
Well, you could just be like me and buy Dragon's Dogma on Switch and play that
Old game is
solidly.
old. Tell me about ports on the Switch that I want to play.
Okay, let's get into more games that are already out, but now we're out again. God damn, this is like our whole life right now. Some of these games have already released in other locations, but now they're releasing here. Some of these games are actually releasing in places for the first time, like Brief Battles, which comes out for PS4, Xbox One, and PC this week. This is a weird-ass underwear-based arena shooter. Think Smash Brothers, but without any properties or redeeming features.
It seems that feels unnecessarily harsh for a game you have not played.
I'm sorry. I tried. I looked at it. Just looks like an arena combat game. It's got local fighting. It looks like it's 4 players. You pick different underwears, and they give you different powers so you can fight people. There's a bunch of weird underwear-themed characters. I don't know, man. This week has some weird games that look like they should have come out on Newgrounds back in the day, but they're out now, and you can play them, and one of them's Brief Battles. And if your game's amazing, I do truly apologize, but I'm not going to play it.
Okay, that's fair. That's a little bit better.
I struggle with some of these things. How about For the King for PS4 and Xbox? This is a strategic RPG that blends tabletop and roguelike elements in a challenging adventure that spans the realms.
All right, I'm into it.
It's got a single player and co-op, local and online campaign. This game actually looks pretty rad, so I might give this a shot at some point this week. Because
Is this coming on PC?
PS4 and Xbox, I believe it is already on PC.
Yeah, it came out last year, actually.
Yep, Puyo Puyo Champions, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. This is the next Puyo Puyo game. If you don't know what that is, I'm probably saying it wrong, but it's a kind of, at this point, old franchise that's a competitive style puzzle game.
Yeah,
and
that's
this one
about right.
has local multiplayer and online matchmaking.
And Puyo Puyo's been around forever.
Dude, it's been around for a long
time.
Like,
think things like Tetris and Columns and Dr. Mario. It's that style puzzle game.
Yep. My Big Sister for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and Vita. Oh
this
my
thing
god,
looks
a Vita
creepy
release.
As fuck.
This is an indie adventure pixel graphics-based game where you play as a girl named Luzia, and you're on a quest to return home with yourself and your older sister who were abducted. And yeah, it looks interesting. Maybe take a look at the trailer.
Yeah, it looks almost like it was made in an RPG Maker, and it just looks creepy as hell.
Yep. Shakedown Hawaii, PS4, Vita again, Switch and PC. This game looks like Grand Theft Auto.
Yes,
and
like 2D Grand Theft Auto.
And I don't mean 3 Beyond. This looks like original Grand Theft Auto. It's an open world style game, top down. You can steal cars, you get guns, you kill people. It's got 3 main characters. One of them who's running a corporation, but his corporation's going south, and so you're actually like trying to buy properties, trying to make money. The main character's brother is like an enforcer that'll go around and kill people, and you can also play as the kid who tries to make business deals. And
this looks legitimately good.
This actually does look really fun. Legends of the Tetrarchs for Xbox One and PC. This is a strategy adventure RPG, so think 2D sprite, Super Nintendo style RPG. Turn-based battles, pixel art, old school SNES-styled RPG for Xbox One and PC.
I get a slight Shining Force feel to it, like just the ever slightest hint of it.
Possibly. Life is Strange 2, Episode 3, Wastelands, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. This is the next sequel story in the Life is Strange 2 season. With the Life is Strange games, I feel like you're either playing it or you're not. If you're going to pick up Life is Strange 2, you're sure as hell not going to start with Episode 3.
Exactly.
You're Episode 1. Or, more likely, you're going to start with Captain Underpants, which was the free prequel, midquel between Life is Strange Season 1
I would say you're
2.
probably going to start with Life is Strange 1, but hey, you do you.
That's true. I'm just saying one of them's free. Yakuza Kiwami 2 comes out for PC this week, and that is pretty damn cool. The Kiwami Yakuza games are just the re-releases or the HD remixes of the original Yakuza games.
Now, are they
which
just
came out...
HD upgrades, or do they actually add a few things to it?
It's hard to tell because Yakuza Kiwami, I think, is a straight HD remaster.
Okay.
But if there's any like add-ons or DLC or anything, I think it's just all in there. I'm not entirely sure that these games even had add-ons, though, because these are PS2 games. Yakuza, though, is a pretty cool franchise that feels very like 3D video game era, like early PS2 stuff, because you run around on the street, you get quests, you talk to people, and then you just punch people or you play mini games, and I don't know. It's just kind of
it's a series that's never taken itself too seriously, and it's always something that I've always wanted to play. It's always one of those games that's like, oh, I'll play that next week, and next week just never comes.
I started the first Yakuza when Kiwami hit PS Plus for free, and I actually think that game's pretty cool, so maybe I'll get a look at this. Masquerada, Songs and Shadows hit Switch this week. This game came out on PC and Xbox and PlayStation 4 a while ago. This is a single-player tactical RPG with a really cool art style. I've actually played this game a bit. I think it's pretty fun. It's got full voice acting throughout, story full of intrigue, tragedy. You run around in a masquerade mask, you kill people, you're some princely style dude.
It's solid. I've played a couple hours of it. I liked what I played. Never finished it, but what I did play was really cool.
Yep. Lost Artifact Soulstone hits PS4 and Switch. It's a... If you thought I was mean before, this game looks like it came on a CD-ROM with a Happy Meal. I don't want to be that much of a dick, but I'm gonna. This is like a casual strategy game. And for all I know, it's amazing because strategy games, as a rule, I always think are fun. It's just looking at trailers, looking at art for this game, I just don't see enough personality to make me pick it over anything else.
I was going to say, to be fair, one of my favorite games last year was literally 1-bit.
Yeah, that's fine. And these games have an audience. It just, I didn't get enough of this game is unique to get me to want to play it.
Okay.
Unless you desperately need another casual strategy game. Lovecraft's Untold Stories for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch is an action roguelite with RPG elements. You explore randomly generated levels based in Lovecraft stories, fight cultists and monsters from the mythos, get gear, solve puzzles, find clues and knowledge, and kill some great old ones. This game actually does look kind of cool. Dragon Fangs, The Rose of Dungeon and Time for Xbox One is apparently the same thing because I don't know how to copy notes, so someone else can look that up.
Fair enough. Let's go ahead and talk about the one that you're excited for.
Yeah, there's a reason why I've been glossing over all this shit. The most important open world crime game ever made is releasing on Switch this week, and that's Saints Row the Third.
It's an amazing game, by the way, if you've never played it.
Saints Row the Third is not just the best Saints Row game, it's also the best Grand Theft Auto game, and it's also the best fucking True Crime LA game, and every other one of those open world we're doing crime games that's been made. If you don't believe me, as soon as you beat a gang leader to death with a 6-foot-long floppy dildo bat, your mind will be changed. Especially when you meet the mayor, which is probably the greatest cameo in video game history. And even though it's a million years old, I won't spoil it. Saints Row the Third is one of my favorite games. It's also one of the only games that I've ever 100%ed. So yeah, I'm probably gonna buy it on Switch because I'm a dumbass.
It's truly when Volition realized we should stop being a Grand Theft Auto clone and just do our own fucking whacked out thing.
Saints Row
paid off
felt like
so good for him.
Saints Row, the first one, felt like a lower budget Grand Theft Auto game. Saints Row 2. They did some interesting things, but still kind of felt the same. Saints Row 3 is where they actually came into their own. They made their own video game. And then Saints Row 4 is where they completely jumped the shark, and the franchise stopped dead in the water, and then we got Agents of Mayhem. So this is the dream right here.
This is
the
as
good
apex.
as Saints Row gets. This is your moment. This is your time to shine. This is the fleur-de-luz of video games.
The fleur-de-lis?
Whatever. I don't care.
David, that brings us to the new releases, which, of course, brings us to the end of the show itself. This has been GamePoints episode 173, and thank you all for showing. We do stream live every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here at Twitch TV/GamePoints. And if you can, please feel free to be part of the show, like Vince Nitro, like Coco for Tacos, like Nolan Richardson, and everyone else who happens to be lurking. I appreciate you visiting. But if you can't join us live, be sure to tune in to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GamePointsPC, to catch all of our old shows, reviews, various Let's Plays. If you want to support the show at any time, feel free to like, follow, subscribe. If you're sitting on the Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime subscription, please feel free to use that here. But if you don't use it here, give it someone. It does go to waste if you don't do it. Also, if you want to know when I do go live from my normal streaming, feel free to turn on those follows and notifications so that we can be alerted when I pop in there. Sometimes I do get some pre-release stuff. I can get some stuff sometimes. Thank you all for showing up. If you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at GamePoints PC. You can follow myself, Stephen Brown, at Capitalist21, and you can follow David there at palslife_Satori. So, until next time that I'm live, or next show, which will be Monday, this has been GamePoints.
So the nuns come out?
And then we're out of here.